CEO of Sirius Satellite Radio. Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me, David.
My pleasure. Our pleasure as well. Let's start off on the auto market. Obviously, still continues to be an important component of your overall business.
Yeah.
When sales are down, as SAR is year over year, it would seem that it would have an impact. How do you view things? And by the way, overlaying that, is there any impact on your business from the chip shortage?
So a couple of things there. We had the great tailwind in the first half of the year with auto sales, really at some record high levels, and that set us up really well to deliver on our subscriber guidance, our full year subscriber guidance, the first 3 quarters of the year. But auto sales came down in the third quarter, and that pressures the fourth quarter for us. But we're still set up to deliver guidance across all of the metrics. And then just going forward, from a supply standpoint, we're pretty well positioned. It's been really a tremendous amount of work to work with the chip suppliers, the module manufacturers, the tier ones, and the OEMs to make sure that we're supplying everything they need.
I always wonder when we hear this from a lot of CEOs, a lot of work. So what actually does that mean? Are you just calling a lot of them? And what actually is the work?
Working through allocations, who needs what, where, and we're actually not really managing the supply chain in terms of taking inventories, but it's obviously a critical component to be able to have SiriusXM in the car. So just our folks across different parts of the business are working directly with the OEMs or with the manufacturers to make sure that the allocation is correct in terms of who needs what.
And so you don't see any issues in terms of supply going into next year?
Oh, no, there'll be issues. I mean, I think, we see all the public comments in terms of what's happening. At least with October SAR, it was a little better than I think we thought, closing in on 13 million. But I think, as most of the automakers have said, it's going to continue into next year.
Podcasting has obviously become an important component of the streamers and their business and yours. You have a streaming product as well. Why and what is the compelling feature of podcasting that makes it a good business opportunity?
There's certainly been a significant increase in consumers' interest in listening to not just music, but non-music content, and podcasting has done a lot to fuel that. So we do see a lot of growth in the industry. And for SiriusXM, non-music content has always been a big part of our curated bundle, and we have a lot of expertise here, and of course we'll want to have podcasts, and we're doing deals with Crime Junkie, one of the largest podcasts out there in audio, Chuck, and the last podcast on the left, and many of the podcast creators and the publishers want broad distribution, and so that's been one really attractive part of SiriusXM. Is that we're not necessarily creating exclusive experiences for podcasters. If that's what talent wants, we'll do that. But we're distributing more broadly across all platforms. So it's kind of a navigation of what do the content creators want and what works best, obviously, for the business. But we can monetize in multiple different ways for our content investments. We're adding value to our subscriptions on the SiriusXM side, but with broad distribution, we're set up really well with SXM Media and our advertising sales and tech capabilities to be able to monetize on all platforms.
Right. Although, there's not a channel that I can tune into when I'm in my car, right? It's the app that I need to.
Yes. We will have podcasts in the car eventually, but
you will.
We will, yes, through 360L,
right?
Because it is interactive, so we do need the modem in the car for the IP connection.
Yes. I spent a lot of time a number of years ago covering the potential sale of Pandora. Eventually, it did get sold to Sirius. How does that fit in at this point, from your vantage point, in terms of the business proposition again for the overall company?
Yeah, so we still have. It's a very valued platform for tens of millions of listeners across the U.S., and we've done a number of things with partners and content on Pandora. We have great collaborations with artists on our takeover modes, but it's really a key part of our advertising strategy, which is one of our 3 growth pillars, and it continues to monetize really well. And advertisers, with the growth in audio, advertisers want full solutions. So we have music, we have podcasts, and we have broadcasts. So we can sell cross-platform opportunities for advertisers looking to make sure that they're reaching audiences in audio.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.